Hannah, what?
It
What
was
is
on
it?
my face. It was on my face. Some dance.
Don't open it.
Girls falling apart.
M's behavior's got nothing.
An old lady stands in front of a box with her eyes full of terror and tries to crash it using a hammer, but she ends up throwing herself on the floor and badly injuring herself. Outside, her son keeps knocking on the door and finally gets inside to see her passed out on the floor. Clyde, a basketball coach and a father who just got divorced, goes to his house to pick up his daughters for the weekend. His oldest daughter, Hannah, gives him attitude just like always, but his youngest daughter, Emily, is sweet, and she makes him choose between the posters she made for advocacy about killing animals for food. His ex-wife reminds him to take his stuff out of the house because she is using the room. His ex-wife, Stephanie, is dating someone, and Clyde doesn't seem too happy about it. She warns him to let the girls eat healthy, and he finally takes them to his new house. While they're having dinner, the youngest daughter, Emily, suggests they invite their mother to breakfast, but Clyde lets her know that they can't do that anymore since they're separated. When returning home, the kids make Clyde stop at a yard sale since he needs dishes for his new house. His daughter Emily is particularly interested in one box and asks her dad if she can have it. While her dad is making the payment, Emily sees a woman going into a house. She follows the house's window and she sees a heavily injured old lady sleeping beside the window. When the old lady sees Emily has the box, she starts screaming hysterically. After they get home, Emily asks Clyde to open the box for her, but he tells her he can't, since it has no seams. Clyde receives news that he has landed a job as a Division I coach. Later that night, Emily goes to bed with the box on her desk. She suddenly wakes up in the middle of the night and picks up the box from her desk. She opens it and finds a ring inside the box and wears it. The box has writings on the top, a mirror inside, and a moth inside it. In the morning, Emily and Clyde hear Hannah scream in the bathroom. She just saw a moth, and Clyde gets rid of it. Emily tells her sister that she doesn't feel like herself and that her mood has changed as she appears to be sad. When Clyde and the kids return to his house, Emily sees the stuff in the house being thrown across the floor, and she stands there scared. Her older sister, Hannah, calls Clyde crying, saying there's someone in the house. He tells them to stay back and goes to get a closer look. When he looks closer, the fridge is open, food is spilled all over the floor, and something runs out using the pet door. Clyde brings them down, revealing it was just a raccoon, even though he didn't see anything. He sealed the pet door to prevent future intrusion. At night, Emily hears voices coming from the box, and she seems drawn to it. The next morning, Clyde tells them to come down to have breakfast with him. Clyde notices Emily is eating much faster. He tells her to stop several times, but she only gets worse. He then raises his voice so she will stop, but she stabs his hand with a fork and leaves crying. She wears the ring she found in the box almost all of the time, and her finger is turning blue even though nobody notices it. As Hannah is brushing her teeth, she senses something flying in the air, but when she turns around, there's nothing. When she finally opens the bathroom cabinet, moths start coming out and flying across her face. She screams and calls her dad. She shows him what's inside the bathroom. There are also some signs of a moth under Emily's door. When they open Emily's door, the room is dark, and when they turn the light on, Emily is sitting in front of the box looking at a mirror while there are hundreds of moths flying all over her. Clyde goes inside and gets her out of the room. They called pest control to get rid of all the moths in the house, but they couldn't figure out what attracted so many moths. Clyde drives over to his old house to return the kids and notices Emily's mood isn't as usual. She has gotten quiet and distant. When he asks her if she's okay, she asks him what happened. When returning home, Clyde has a conversation with Stephanie, and she tells him to delete his email from her computer because she is still receiving his emails. They reminisce about their life together, but they remember it's too late for that now. As he's leaving, Clyde asks Stephanie if she has noticed anything strange about Emily, but she tells him the kids are having a hard time adjusting to their divorce, and that's probably it. Later, Clyde is coaching his team and doesn't notice the time. One of his players reminds him that he said he had somewhere to be at 5, but it's now way past that. Clyde realizes and quickly calls Hannah to apologize for missing her first ever stage performance, but she is mad at him and gives the phone to Emily. She tells him that she's upset at the moment. Emily asks him if her box is okay and demands he never goes inside her room because she doesn't want anyone to touch the box other than her. Clyde finds it suspicious that his daughter is obsessed with the box like this. He goes inside her room and tries to open it. He sees what's inside the box and can't understand what it is. Emily is in the bathroom looking at her hand. The blue on her fingers has been spreading to her hand. She feels something weird in her mouth and throat. She gets a flashlight to get a closer look and sees the disturbing sight of a finger coming up from her throat. When she looks closer, she ends up finding nothing. At school, a boy opens Emily's bag and asks her what the box is. She gets really upset and starts a fight with the boy. Her teacher comes from behind to separate them, but Emily is acting so strange and violent towards everyone. Her parents get called to school to address Emily's new behavioral change. She isn't doing her assignments. She has lost interest in everything that once interested her. Being distant from her friends, Emily's teacher described her behavior today as particularly violent and advised keeping her separated from the box for some time. After they get out of school, Stephanie tells Clyde that she is still receiving his emails and that has found out that he's planning to leave for his new job offer and gets mad at him for planning to leave while his daughter is in this situation. The box remains at school and Emily's teacher hears a voice coming out of the box. When she looks closer and opens the box, she starts bleeding from her eyes. When she tries to run away, the door closes. It's like something is dragging her across the floor, and finally she gets thrown out of the window. School gets cancelled because of the unfortunate death of the teacher. Emily asks her father to get the box for her because it is still in the classroom. Clyde asks her why the box is so important to her. She says she doesn't know why, but it is. He tells her that he noticed that she talks to the box sometimes. Emily says she doesn't talk to the box. She talks to her friend who lives inside the box. She tells him that it is a woman, and when he asks her what she is saying to her, she says she told her that she was special. Clyde gets worried about his daughter and the mysterious box. He drives to a place far from his house and dumps the box somewhere. Emily wakes up in the middle of the night looking for the box. She asks her father where the box is. He says it's not here. She commands him to go and get it. He tells her that they're done with the box. She gets really upset and says she will call her mother to come pick her up. Clyde tells her that she will get grounded if she keeps acting this way. Emily continues saying mean things to her father. She keeps on saying things like, "I hate you" and "Mom hates you." The conversation gets heated and Emily starts slapping herself and pretends Clyde does it. Her sister Hannah is looking at what's happening from the back, so from her point of view, it looks like he's beating her.
Did you just hit her?
Emily runs outside in search of the box. She reaches the place where Clyde dumped the box and takes the box out of the trash. The box opens up and moths come out of the box and go inside her. Clyde runs after her and gets to where she is. He carries her home and hands her to Stephanie. He then gets arrested for possibly abusing Emily. The court grants an order against Clyde for the moment, and he's banned from seeing his kids. Stephanie tells him that she doesn't want to see him again. Stephanie's boyfriend plans to have a movie night with the kids. Emily acts strangely towards her mom's boyfriend. She asks him to leave the house. Clyde takes the box and goes to a professor to ask about it. He is told that it is a box used to contain evil in Judaism. The box stands for something deadly and a warning. Clyde starts researching how to fight these demons. He looks at exorcism videos. After that, he takes the Torah and goes to see Emily. He goes to her room and starts reading Torah verses. Emily wakes up angry, and suddenly the Torah gets thrown across the room without anyone touching it. It's like there is something inside Emily that hated it when Clyde read the Torah to it. Clyde goes to church to find answers. When the people in the church see the box, they start leaving in fear. When Clyde asks an elder about any methods that'll help him get the thing out of his daughter, the elderly man tells him that it is God's will and that they can't help him. The demon comes for anyone who dares to perform a ceremony on it.
You have to help me.
Hopelessly, Clyde leaves the church. The elder's son follows him and tells him he will be able to do the ceremony and help him. Back at home, Stephanie hears a noise and goes to the kitchen, where she sees Emily holding raw meat in her mouth. She then starts to scream and throw glasses around the house. Stephanie realizes that her daughter might be possessed by something. The next day, Emily is sitting on a swing, and she looks at her mom's boyfriend, and she gives him a very scary look. Before he knows it, he starts bleeding from his mouth, and his teeth start falling out. Stephanie sees what happens and comes running, but Emily starts to have a seizure, and a moth comes out of her mouth. Stephanie takes her to the hospital to get her checked. When they try to do an MRI, the lights of the building keep flashing, like some entity here is messing with it. Stephanie then notices something shocking in Emily's X-ray. There is a full-faced demon staring back at them. Clyde comes down to the hospital with the priest, and they find a quiet room to do the ceremony. The priest lights a candle and starts saying verses from the Torah. Clyde, Stephanie, and Hannah all put something that belongs to them in the box for this to work. Emily attacks the priest and both her parents and then runs away. Clyde goes after her and tells the demon to take him instead. The priest, Stephanie, and Hannah find Clyde and Emily inside the morgue. They see that Emily is fine, but now Clyde looks possessed. The priest continues the ritual as Clyde gets thrown into the corner of the room. Clyde is the new host of the demon. The demon crawls out of Clyde and gets inside the box. Finally, both Emily and Clyde go back to themselves and get the demon out of their system. They all return home and start living together as a happy family after the incident they experienced. The priest, who now has the box, calls Clyde. Clyde thanks him for his help in saving his family. After they hang up, the priest suddenly gets into a car accident and dies, because remember, the demon comes for anyone who does a ceremony on it. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you on the next one. Fear awaits you.